with that. Please put your hands together for your first comic, Carl Desmond!
Especially giving up for Improv City, I just gotta say this has been the most wonderful, creative, and supportive place. Please give it a round.
Yeah!
All your attitude and stuff around the support of your friends and family. Thank you very much. So, a few numbers to get to know me better. I am 54. I am the father of 4. I'm the husband to only one wife. You know, I wanted more wives. I just didn't want to move to Utah to get them. We've been married for 25 years. This is my wife, Josie, right here. I recently celebrated 11 years clean and sober. You know, I can tell already that some of you are doing the math, and yes, I drink alcoholically for 14 years of my marriage, my poor wife. You know, I put her through a lot. You know, some of you, I can tell, are wondering, you know, why my wife stayed with me under those conditions for so long, and you're thinking that I you know, maybe I'm compensating with a very large sense of humor. Right? Everything else about me is pretty average, but I have a huge sense of humor. You know, it took a lot of live, laugh, love signs in our marriage to make it work throughout the years. You know, is anybody else here sober? Couple hands. So the rest of you are all just fucking drunk. I get it. You know, I found out I had a drinking problem, not because of a DUI or going to rehab or even the fact that I was drunk all the time. You know, I found out I had a drinking problem. Don't tell anybody, but I shit my pants. You know, some alcoholics, they have like a moment of clarity. I had more like a movement of irregularity. You know, it was definitely a trip. You know, so yeah, you'd be surprised how pooping your pants can be a huge catalyst to getting sober. You know, people ask me what's like getting sober. I say it's like waking up in the movie The Matrix, except you don't have to take any more pills. You know, occasionally you have to take the Tylenol, of course, right? But not if you're pregnant. Don't do that. You know, so you know, some alcoholics, they do stuff like. They go to extremes to get sober. They do like AA or cold plunges or equine therapy. You know, I found out that the real, desperate alcoholics, they do stand-up comedy. You're going to see some of them tonight, just FYI. You know, a lot of people do like stuff like, goat yoga, right? You know, and nothing screams like wounded ex-drinker more than a farm animal standing under shame. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, you know, every once in a while I get a well-placed hoof to open up those hips too. You know, so getting sober is like watching an old school black and white movie go to full color 4K resolution overnight. Everything, you know, life becomes instantly vibrant and beautiful and overwhelming, and you're like, oh my God, have I always been this old and bald? You know, my mortgage is how much? I am married to the same person. We have how many kids? You know, so, you know, for my family, it's like waking up an angry toddler from a very short nap. You know, I was bitter and irritable and pissed off, mainly because now I get up early on Saturday mornings, and I just figured out that they don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. You know, I'm like, bring back the House of Mouse. You know, in early recovery, you know, it's easy to substitute other things for alcohol, you know, and I was no different. You know, I craved massive amounts of sugar. You know, I was always hungry. You know, I was sticky from carrying like Skittles and Tootsie Rolls in my pockets. You know, mainly I was, you know, sticky just from hoarding Ben and Jerry's like it was methadone. You know, I was also, maybe I was, sticky from, doing the 5-knuckle shuffle on my piss pump like I was going to puberty. When I wasn't doing that, I was like lining up Oreo cookies on the kitchen counter, be like, oh yeah, double stuff. Pure Colombian Nabisco, man. They sell that stuff by the cookie. They should be selling it by the kilo. In that first year, my wife and I were expecting I gained 40 pounds from eating cookies and ice cream every night. In sobriety, we like to call that recovery weight. I named Mike Carl Jr. We were so proud. I was gonna raise him like he was my own. So I started running, right? Running from my wife when she'd catch me breaking into the kids' Lunchables. Just for the dessert portions, I'm not a monster. The kids didn't starve, they didn't suffer, unless they got in my way, and then they suffered. Where's the Easter baskets? My family is just happy that I, wasn't passed out on the couch with my wrinkleberries hanging out. I wanted a parade for getting sober, and they're like over here, like, oh look, he found his juice cup in his emotions again. Oh, oh look, he used the toilet appropriately. He called his therapist all by himself. Oh, how about we get you one of those things, a job. I'm over here getting sober like, I'm over here getting sober like, I have unlocked consciousness. I'm at one with the spirit of the universe. Ask me anything. Except my kids' names and Matt. Shit about Matt. I said I was sober, not Buddha with a calculator. For my friends and family, me getting sober was like just another Tuesday, but for me, it was a sublime beginning for the rest of my life. 11 years, sober, I've been to, meetings, I've read self-help books, I've been to retreats and therapy, and with all of this, I am now the most self-aware asshole you will ever meet. Don't really ask me anything. I may still break into my kids' Lunchables at 2 a.m. I may still poop my pants. I'm not getting any younger after all. And it is getting harder to detect the sharks from the farts. At least now, I will remember every juicy detail in glorious 4K resolution. Thank you.
Yeah.